All right, everybody, we're live round two. Hopefully, everything is all good now. We're going to refresh on my screen so I can make sure everyone can see what's going on. Yes, we're in the correct view. So, what's up, everyone? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Hopefully, books are starting to sell well. For me, they definitely are in the January textbook season, which is awesome. Today, we're going to be trying to source about $100 potential profit on BookMine in about 30 minutes. Now, we've done this series. It's actually part 3 of the series. We've done it twice before. And this is what we were able to produce in the previous 2 sessions. So, you'll notice that there's a bunch of titles of books, there's a bunch of ASINs, the cost price, that's if we actually did purchase the book, and then we have what we anticipated selling the book at, and then what the profit would have been if we did sell at that, and then we lastly put the keep link here, and this is actually shared in the other uh, descriptions of the videos, including well, I'll go ahead and put this one in the chat as well. So in case anyone wants this one, that you can get it, but I'll go ahead and put that in the chat right there. So if you wanted to access that link later on, I'll go ahead and put it in the description of this as well. I'll actually put it here. So our spreadsheet right here, so that you can also have access to that if you wanted to. But the point is, we did this twice before. What you're seeing here is the first set of books that we thought potentially could make us about $100 profit. It took us only 30 minutes to find those. Session 2 was these books, and we were able to find about $140 potential profit. Now, if you see green, it means simply that we confirmed that yes, the book would very have likely have sold for that price based upon what the data looks like now. Yellow means everything looks like it's on track. Now, everything down here in session 2 is what happened last time, so we're gonna have to go and fill in yellow and green. But first, what I wanted to do was just go through these books. So let's go with the first one. So this would have been in September 11th when we did this live stream, and it looks like we bought it for 32. Thought we could sell for 67. That looks good to me. The lowest use price right now is actually at 75, the 75 range. So that looks good to me. We went ahead and put green. That looks good. Now we have the next book, The Blue Cliff, and we said that we thought we could buy this for at the time we could have bought it for 16.49. We said let's buy 2 copies. We wanted to buy it or sell it for 50. And so right now you can actually see as of recently, the last 2 sales happened there in the 25s. Now it's up to $60 at the lowest use price. And so that book is now recovered. It's up to 60. Our target was 49. So I think we can safely say that that looks good to us as well. And let me go ahead and edit this like that. So we're going to go ahead and make those green. So we're going to say that was profitable. So far we're looking pretty good. All right. Next one we had was this Man Comes. What is this? Construction book. We bought 2 for 21, and currently the price is at 26. Is there some seasonality? There's a little bit of seasonality here in January that's going to come up. So potentially the price of the book could go up a little bit. Let's actually just see what the offer's looking at right now. So $40 is actually the cheapest price. So interestingly, we're getting incorrect data from Keepa. Actually, the cheapest price is $40. So that's actually pretty good. And looks like we got 40, 43, 45. So a couple cells away from being at 48, which our goal is 49. So I'm going to still keep that as yellow. I wouldn't say that we can conservatively have sold that for a profit. All right. Now we're going to go and look at the next one, which is a school book. School community relations. We said that we could have picked this up for 25 and our goal is sell for 70. And currently it's actually right at the price where we bought it at. But I would still say this is yellow because, again, if you look at when the sales rank was lowest, it's actually late January. So we're actually just in the beginning of the January textbook season. So it's really the next couple of weeks, probably the next time we do this live stream, we'll be able to see if it actually did well or not. But this one I would say is definitely on yellow right now. It's still on track. Its offer count's a little bit higher, so I probably would price it down. I'd probably price it like $59.99 just because the offer count's a little bit higher right now. But well, I'm still going to keep that at yellow. And then finally, we had fundamentals of thermodynamics. We said we would have bought 3 copies for 25. Our goal is sell for 70. and right now it's sitting at 57 bucks. And again, you can see that there's actually a ton of demand starting on January 13th of last year. So more than likely January this year. And you can see the price was actually in the 40s before it jumped up into the hundreds. Right now, the price is actually already in the high 50s. So it's possible that this could also jump into the hundreds. So this could really be a big winner for us as well. So $57 is actually where it's at right now. But again, we bought it for 25. So even if we just sold it for what the cheapest price is right now, we'd even be profitable. We'd have a 40% ROI, which is great. But again, we're gonna hold out until when most of the demand is gonna happen. So I think this book could actually be a very good book. So I'm gonna still keep it yellow for right now, just because even though I could say it's green, it's our target price is still about 7. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So let's go ahead and look at what we have for the books we sourced last time. We have the psychotherapy book, which we could have picked up for $9.96. We thought we could sell for 35, and currently the use price is about $14 right now. Now, if you look at this book long term, it's not really necessarily a seasonal book. It's kind of a all year round book that's had just a high price, a good price right around the 30. So it's still not there yet. Offer count is maybe a little bit higher than it was last year, especially when it was at a higher price. So I'm gonna say yellow, borderline red. We're still just gonna have to wait on that book. It would have been about, what is that? About 2 months since we would have bought that book if we did buy it. All right, next book was this traditional Chinese book. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I'm gonna put this yellow. All right, traditional Chinese medicine book. We could have picked it up for 26. We thought we could sell for 65. And look, there you go. The used price right now is actually 65 bucks. So this is when we would have picked it up at 26 right here. And then since then, the price went right up and it's sold actually multiple times already. So I'm going to go ahead and say green for this because 65 is what we're targeting. Multiple sales at 65 already. So I would say pretty conservatively, that was a success. That was profit right there. All right, this outrageous yacht book here. We said we could pick it up for 15 and our goal is sell for 45. And right now, the lowest use price is actually 37 plus shipping. So it's pretty much right there. 42 is the lowest use price. IMD and the buy box actually know who this person is. Very cool guy. And yeah, 45 is kind of where we're at. I mean, I would say that borderline yellow green there. I mean, 45 is, what the target would be. The buy box has actually been at 40, 48, 49 before, and somebody actually did sell it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that as green, but we bought it down here and we would have been able to sell it there. So I'm gonna put that as green as well. Say that would have been good. All right, we have this Oxford Latin course. Let's see what we got here. This we could have bought for 24, said let's sell for 52. It's actually at 28 plus shipping. It's probably in the 30s. So it's slightly higher than what we bought it for. But notice again that the demand spike is really there January 14th, 15th. That's when it's lowest. And that's also when the used price goes up. So offer count on this is actually looking pretty good as well. So I'm going to say this is yellow. It's on course to do well, but it's not quite there yet. Making sense of statistics. Could have bought this for 38. Our goal is to sell for 80. And currently it's at 45 plus shipping. So it's probably right around 50. But once again, if we look at when most of the demand was, it's right around mid-January. And that's when the used price was much higher. So at this point last year, the used price was actually $35. Right now it's 45 bucks. So it's actually higher. The offer count on this book is a little bit higher. So I wouldn't probably price as aggressively. But I would still say that that's on track to do quite well. So I'm going to leave that as yellow. So again, yellow isn't bad. Yellow means I think it's on track to still do well. Everything's still looking decently well about it. What we'll do is if any book turns out to be not like a dud, like we would have had to sell at break even or loss, we'll make that red. So I would say so far we're looking good. I'd say pretty conservatively, we were able to flip about almost half the books profitably already within just a 2-month time period. And then the last book is starting out with Python. So we said pick up 2 copies for 70. It's actually 75 plus shipping. Offer count on this is a little bit higher as well. And again, this is kind of like an all year round sort of college textbook. I mean, mainly in August, September is when it shoots up, but I would say right now I mean, just continue to monitor. It hasn't gone up. It's kind of still the same price. But again, it did go up in the middle of January. So I would say still yellow. That one could turn into a red. It really depends on if the offer count continues to go up, but we'll leave it yellow for right now. And so that leaves us with first two sessions. So we're gonna go ahead and go over to BookMine. By the way, today's ad is BookMine Mini. Basically, you can go to bookmine.co/mini and you will be able to sign up for BookMine Mini for free. 50 book leads every 2 hours. It's a great tool to use to start sourcing the first books that you ever want to buy from Amazon to Amazon. And then if you ever do start to get traction with it, you like it, you're able to make profit, then head on over to regular BookMine, which is between 4 and 5,000 books every 30 minutes. All right. So the goal, 30 minutes. Where's my timer? Actually, you know what? We'll make a Google timer. I think that's better. So we'll go Google timer here. And we're going to go ahead and set this to 30 minutes. And we're going to press play. So we got 30 minutes starting from now. We're going to add them to the spreadsheet. So we're over here on regular BookMine. And let's go ahead and reset this. All right. So a couple different ways that we could do this. We could kind of just scroll through and try to see if anything really pops out at us. We could also do our own filters and such. So what I'm gonna do is just that exactly. I'm just gonna kind of go and see what looks interesting to me. I'm looking for books that are undervalued, books that have recently dropped in price. So we'll look at that. Look at that. I think there's a couple up here as well. And certainly as you do more and more of this, you'll get better and better at it. But I'm just kind of looking on the first page right now, seeing if anything again pops out at me. Look at this. All right, so I got a couple to look at on the first page. Western Civilization. This is definitely a high school textbook. You can see that by the August pattern. And you can see the last 2 years, this book went into the 60s, which is great. It did drop to about 24, and then someone just picked up a copy. So probably a BookMine member picked up a copy, and then it just shot right back up to the 40s. Now, more than likely, this is a good book to track because the offer count's similar, and it did get cheaper last year. So I would definitely track this book. If you can pick it up anywhere under 25, I think this is definitely a solid pickup for that book. The Hive and the Honeybee. This has been selling in the $30 range. It's now in the $15 range, which is pretty cool. It almost looks like it does have some seasonality. It definitely gets lower, but then it does recover. So I would say this is probably a really good replan. Only one person, you can see down here, only one person is tracking this product too, which means probably not very many eyes on it. 21 is what you need to pay today if you want. It's also an acceptable condition. So we're gonna go and pass on it. But if you could pick this up for I'd say definitely under 13, I think this would be a solid deal. I'm wondering if anything's over on eBay as well. Some for 18, this one's 15. Is that the right book? I don't think that's the right book. That's not the right book. But that could easily be a pretty good replan in the mid 30 range, but it has to be a little bit cheaper for us to make money. Fresh Cooking, this recently sold in the 40s and it just dropped down to about 15 plus shipping. Now, what I kind of notice sort of holistically is it generally sells kind of where it's priced at today. It just probably for Christmas was priced a little bit higher. So I wouldn't buy it just because it's probably actually a good book for Christmas, but not sort of for all year round. We have a Warhammer book. Looks to have sold in the 80 range. It's now in the 60s, so a little bit undervalued, not enough. Machine Tool Practices. All right. So this was selling in the 115 range. It just dropped down to 43. Now in January of last year is at 108. So today's sourcing session is gonna be a little harder because we can't really rely on the January textbook season because there's just not enough time to buy the book. And this book potentially could let's see, 98. Actually, someone already purchased it anyway, so you wouldn't even be able to buy it. But I probably still would have held off on it because it's more likely in June, July, August, the price of it will be cheaper. And so it's probably better to use your capital elsewhere. Okay. So let's actually go ahead and do a little bit of filtering here. I'm going to go and do Profit meter, we'll do great and amazing. So I'm gonna get rid of good and close. I'll do great and amazing, and then let's look just for anything that's like under 20 bucks. So I'm gonna use the used price slider, and we'll go like under $25. See if we can't find anything there. All right. We got this landscape book. So we see we have a lot of books that show up yellow, and that's just because we think there's a lot of benefits of that book. So let's take a look at some of these. Reading 16. Anything that looks really good to us here. 1545. 19. All right, let's look at these. So landscape design looks to be a high school book, although I don't know. It definitely sells quite well in January as well. So let's see. Definitely did really well last January. Did quite well in August as well, and it's only sitting here at about 10 bucks plus shipping. I'm wondering if there's a newer edition of this. Came out in 2001, so more than likely not. So it's actually looking to be it's actually only $9.99 shipping as well, which is a pretty good, and there's actually 3 copies available. So I would be definitely interested actually just to buy all 3 of those copies. Now the offer count of this is a little bit higher. And one thing that does a little bit sort of make me more cautious is that you'll notice that in the last 3 August textbook seasons that the offer count dropped a lot. And then if you look at the most recent August textbook season, it really didn't. That's kind of why the offer count's higher. But really, you can't beat that price. $9.99. This book has never been that cheap. So I would still say that $9.99 as the purchase price and trying to sell this for like maybe 35 bucks would be the goal. Um, and I think it could do quite well at 35. So I'm gonna go ahead and say $9.99 at 35. And so let's go ahead and add that to our $100 profit. Because you can see it's only not that many offers until you get up to 35. Now offer count's a little bit higher on this, so I'm just gonna pick up 1 copy of that. All right, we have The Enduring Vision, A History of American People Concise. All right. So a very old book that has done quite well every August textbook season. And it is back to that lower price of about 18 now. The used offer count is pretty similar to where it was last year, which is good news. Now, the thing with this book is you may have an opportunity to pick it up at a cheaper price in the future. That's very possible. And so you could decide to track this book, but I think it's at a good enough price point as long as with this newer edition, it's let's see when it came out. Is this the right edition? So we're looking at it's not even the right one. This is the concise 7th, and this one is the 10th edition. So it's not even technically the right book. So what I'd want to do is the Enduring Vision, History of the American People Concise is what I'd want to type in. See if I can't find like the 8th edition. This one's volume 1 to 8, so that's not even the right book. So without doing more research, I'm thinking this is probably the most recent book. Yeah. So $21. Again, this was in the 40s and 50s. August, September. I mean, went up into the hundreds. Now, if you did buy this book, again, the goal would be to sell in August, September. So this is a book that I think it's at a good enough purchase price of picking up one. It makes sense to me, especially at the offer count. But you could definitely wait if you want to. But this is a book that I would buy. So $21.93. You're definitely waiting, and I'd say the target for this is probably like $59.99 is probably what I would target. But again, feel free to track the book as well, because you know the price could potentially get better. All right, let's keep on going. We have As Full as the World, Christian books, a Christian book. All right, so definitely a high school book. The offer count of this is a little bit higher than it's been in the past. Now, this previous year, it did quite well in the $30 range, potentially even up into the $45 range. So does quite well there. Offer count's a little bit higher on it though, so probably would pass on it. All right, we have this XVA challenge, counterparty credibility risk. So it's been selling pretty much all year from the 60 range. It's done that the last few years. It just dropped in price. It was at 13, 15. Now it's 19. So yeah, 19 is what you'd have to pick it up at. And there's only one copy left. So I would definitely buy it. It's $19 and it goes up to 64, 64, 64. Now it is acceptable. They have 89% feedback, so it's not amazing. But the good thing is you can always return it if it is not sellable, right? The only thing that you need is a sellable condition copy. So I would definitely buy that for 1911. And the target on this is just to sell where it's been selling, right? Which is in that 55 to 60. I'd probably say like, you know, $55 somewhere in there is a pretty conservative guess as to where I'd sell it. So that looks to be a great deal. It's gonna take a while to sell that book, but I would definitely buy it. It might take up to 6 months to sell it, but for a pretty great return there. So I'll add that there. And let's see if that's checking out here. So we do have those here. Is good. And so let's keep on going. Let's make sure that I keep it link. Okay, there you go. All right, let's keep it rolling. We got a polar bear there, grade 1 science. All right, let's do it. We're looking at about 20 minutes left, so we're looking solid here. What do we have? Potentially about 40 bucks. Not bad. All right, let's continue. The trail guide, that looks pretty good. Wow, this was amazing. This was actually an 11 on BookMine. That's crazy. You can see how crazy of a drop that was. Someone snapped that up. It was only there for about 15 minutes, so that's why you got to be fast, guys. It was only there for 15 minutes, but it was selling in the 60s and it dropped down to $13 and then gone immediately. So, well done to whoever got that. All right, let's look at this one. Going to be a great high school book. Again, today's gonna be a little bit more difficult because we can't really buy for the January season. If we were gonna buy a textbook, we'd have to wait till August. But we could wait if we're buying high school books, we'd have to wait till May as well. It makes it a little bit more challenging, but I still think we'll be fine. I've got about 4 books we're gonna look at. I'm just gonna go to the next page and just kind of keep looking. Algebra, We the People. 19, 22. This one looks good. Fun Tales. Star Wars book, probably not quite enough margin. Let's see what else we got. This looks to be a great high school book. All right, let's look at these. So we have a trail guide book. The most recent 2 sales appear to be 50 and 60 bucks. And then the 30 range, and then again the 60s. Again, not a book that sells a lot, but can sell for quite a bit of money, or at least historically has. And the offer count is lower on this. So this is for me, 100% pickup, immediate pickup right here. $9. It's a trail guide, the official guide to the Great Allenhangy Pass. There's only 1 copy available, and then it goes up in the 60 range, which again, the most recent sales were in the 60s. So I'd say that's an absolute gold mine right there. $9, free shipping. We don't even need to go that crazy in the 60s to be profitable on this. We'll just say something really conservative, like I'd say even just selling it for like $39.99. I think easily right there. So that's a good purchase. I definitely pick that up. This trail guide book here. Again, everything is on the spreadsheet as it loads in here. So you can click the keep a link, and that will take you to the actual book if you have it open. And again, that's linked below down in the description. So awesome book there, the trail guide book. All right, History of the Church Semester Edition. All right, high school book that last year you had the opportunity to pick up, and it spiked like crazy. So again, I'm going to say this is definitely a good book to be on track with. And yeah, I'd say picking up 1 copy at this price is pretty solid just to have it in stock. And I would be targeting, there's a long time between now and April, May, which is when you'd probably be picking it up. And the offer counts can change a lot, but I would say as of this moment, targeting like 35 bucks is pretty solid. So let's go ahead and take a peek at it. Again, it's a book that you have to you're gonna wait until the high school season, right? It's not gonna sell overnight. So it's a seasonal book, and so you have to be okay with that. But I would say like 13.49 looks good to me as a purchase price, picking up a copy. And I would say, just being pretty conservative, targeting like 39.99 sounds good to me. So we'll go ahead and put that as $100 part of the portfolio. Again, you have opportunities over the next 3-4 months to pick it up, but I think it'd be a cool book to track to see how it does. All right, we have GIS tutorial for this, and it's done really well the last couple of years, especially during the actual season. Now January 2025 didn't do so hot, but January 24 price also went down as well. So off count's a little bit higher. You'd definitely be buying this for the upcoming August September season. Now I'm most interested to see if there's a new edition of this book, which it looks like there is a new edition, and it probably just came out. So yeah, for these types of like coding books and stuff like that, I probably would just pass on them. American's Foreign Policy Toolkit. Okay, so this is down at 18 plus shipping. It's been selling in the 80s, and it has actually been doing quite well for a long time, actually. It's gone down in price, up in price. It's done quite well. Let's see if we can sell it. It gives me vibes that we can. Oh, we can sell it, which is good. So 18 bucks is what the lowest used price is. And there's actually multiple copies of this available, which is cool. Is there a new edition? I don't see there being a new edition attached to the listing. So let's actually see if we can find a new edition. I don't find a new edition. You can also just Google the title, and you can see that what pops up is the most recent book. There's actually a BASIN of it as well, which is interesting, although it doesn't look like it actually sells. But yeah, that looks good to me. So, long track record of doing well. 18.55 is a great pickup price. I would pick up multiple copies. They're all prime offers. I'd pick up the good condition copy probably, and then one of these two copies here. This one says light liquid stain, so probably not that one, probably this one. But I'd pick up two of those, and the target on, you're buying it for 18.55. Off count slightly higher, but again, you're not needing to sell it for $80 to make profit, right? So I would say even targeting like 49.99, I think would be great. So I'm gonna add that twice because I would pick up two copies of that book. And that leaves us so far with the potential profit of about 92 bucks, and we're about 13 minutes left. So we're doing really well on time. Let's go for orbital mechanics. All right. So it was actually at 19, and then if somebody bought it. So more than likely a BookMine member bought it, and I would agree this is definitely a great book to pick up long term. So whoever picked that up, well done. Great book. Okay, Spanish in 10 minutes a day, book plus audio. Includes a digital download, PC and Mac friendly. Notice that there's a bunch of like CDs. So just because they're CDs, I highly doubt you'd get CDs with it. But if someone says it comes with CDs or it comes like in that, then it would be a great deal. But you can see it's just this low price. There's two low prices, and then it comes up here to that's actual like intrinsic value, like 35.40. But again, more than likely you wouldn't get the CDs from that seller, so I would pass. America the Beautiful, again, another really great high school book. I would actually buy this high school book just because of the fact that its offer count's never been very high. It doesn't get very high. Also, it doesn't stay low for very long, and its price always goes back up into the 30s, and it's really cheap right now. So this is actually America the Beautiful, actually a really good high school book that I would buy right now because of where its price is at. Now, again, you could potentially buy it April, May, June, and using your capital as wisest as possible. It's a good strategy to do that. But at the same time, if you can find a great deal, why not lock it in? You have to be patient with it, but part of this game is patience, right? You can't just expect to buy a book and turn around, sell it the next day, and make $100 profit, right? It's like it takes time. There's actually two copies available right now. for the same price, and I would definitely pick up both of those. The target for me would be like 35 bucks. And so while not a lot of profit, I think just a really solid pickup. And again, potentially this could go up to 37, 39. I know that right now the new price is about 38 or 40, but again, um, new prices fluctuate all the time. So it could, I'd say 35 is pretty reasonable. So we'll go ahead and do that twice. I think those are solid high school book pickups right there. And let's keep going. A lot of people ask, like, how do I go through the book so fast on BookMine? It's just that I know what I'm looking for. Right? I've sold, tens of thousands of books at this point. So it's like I know what I'm looking for. I know what patterns that I've seen time and time again. So how do you get good at that pattern? Well, it's like you have to go individually, kind of one by one. And as you start getting the hang of it, more importantly, as you actually start selling some of the books, then you'll start to notice what those patterns are. For example, this is a very easy pattern to spot as being a winner. So this book right here, It Ain't Me, Babe, it's only 11 bucks. It's been selling in the 40, 50 range this whole year. And it's actually already gone, right? And that's just because that's how good of a deal it was, because it's actually worth 40 to 60 bucks and it just dropped in price down to 14.99. And what's really interesting about this is it's actually a seller who just liquidated it because, and I don't know why they did this, not very smart on their part. Probably their reprice are going awry, but Zebra Books has been on this listing since October of 2025. So they've been on it for 3 months. And in that whole time period, they've been priced pretty close to what the book is actually worth. And then for some reason today, they just decided to drop their price from 64 down to 15. And so for whatever reason, not sure why they did that, but that was an amazing deal. And whoever picked that up on BookMine, well done. That is absolutely a great, great pickup. Now you can even see over on eBay that the price of this book is quite expensive. Again, selling in the 60s, um, which is pretty cool. So awesome book there. Definitely a book to be on the lookout for. It Ain't Me, Babe. I'm curious if there's also another listing of this book somewhere. Let's see. It Ain't Me, Babe. So is this the paperback we were looking at? That is the paperback we were looking at. I think that's a different book there. Don't think that's the right book either. A lot of books with It Ain't Me, but yeah, that is the right book. Okay. So fantastic BookMine pickup there. All right. Something like this, the reason why I pass on this, it's actually pretty decent in terms of what its lowest use price is, but it's only about 9 bucks. But the reason why I pass on it is just because it just doesn't have a ton of sales volume. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad book by any means. It's just, you know, it is a longer tail book. So while it is very possible that you could sell this in the 30, 40 range, because historically that's what has happened for this book, is very possible. It's gonna take a little bit longer to sell, right? And so I bet you if you did buy that book, more than likely you would make profit on it. But also for this challenge in particular, I want to find books that we can turn around and flip more quickly. And so by default, we will just be leaving books on the table, right? That are profitable, but that's okay. Okay. The reason why I'm skipping on this case and materials on Torts book is just because a lot of these books tank in value pretty quickly. So just gonna go ahead and move on from it. All right. So we have again yet another one, The Searcher, a novel. And so it's a book that has sold in the 40s. It's sitting here at 11 bucks, but again, it just doesn't sell very often. So we're gonna go ahead and move on from it. All right, this one looks pretty good there. See, this looks good as well. This looks really good. This looks quite good as well. Textile is a math book. That looks good. This looks good. The lean book, that looks good. Multiculturalism. All right. We only have about like 6 minutes left, so we'll probably end out on this handful of books that we just found. We have the American Promise Value Edition. Again, a Book My member just would have picked this up, but you did have multiple days. I mean, you had January 3rd, 4th, and 5th to pick it up. It was down here at 10 bucks. It just shot back up into 25, but it was at an amazing pick. Honestly, it's still at a good pickup. Like I would even pick it up at this price. 24, it'd be 28, 29. It's a little bit higher than I probably want it to be, but the offer count on it is still good, and this does get in the 65. So I still think this is a good pickup even at that price point. So we're gonna even do it. But it would have been an amazing deal if you picked it up at 10 bucks plus shipping. So whatever BookMine member picked it up at that price, well done. 338 shipping. So 28 is what we'd be all in for. And for me, I would say targeting, this book sold out, right? I mean, it went up to $100. So I would say, being at a similar offer count going, we're still 6 months from the season, but it does start in June there. I think 69.99 is a very realistic and very conservative price to sell this book at. So let's actually pick up both of these copies. Again, all we're needing is a readable, a usable, sellable copy. So that looks good to me. So let's pick up 2 copies of this, even at that $28 price point, and we'll do $100 profit twice there. All right, let that go. And again, I'm gonna go and delete these here so that you have access to those keep links. All right. We're looking at about 4 minutes. We're looking at eco-fascist or fascist? Yeah, fascist. Fascist. What am I saying? Fascist. Eco-fascist. How radical conservationists. What am I? Wow. Can't read. Eco-fascists, how radical conservationists are destroying our natural heritage. All right, this has been selling in the 40 range. It's sitting down here at a great price. Now, interestingly, for a good decade long, it was worthless. And now all of a sudden it has more value despite being at a similar offer count. So it's one of those things, like, not sure why that is, but 10 bucks into 40, you know, I could add it, but at the same time, I don't necessarily like how in years past it wasn't worth it. But again, I'd say pretty high probability if you pick that book up, that'll be good. All right, we got a pre-algebra book here. The offer count is looking good. I mean, it was 73 last year, and this year it's at 35. So, I mean, it definitely has, 4 or 5 months to increase quite a bit, which it can. But when you kind of look at this book's offer count last year, it didn't go up, it just went down. So the fact that this is now cheap at about 12 bucks plus shipping probably, and then this got up in the 50s, 60s, I'm thinking this is going to be a good book to buy. So I would buy at least a couple copies now, especially because the offer count's so low. It actually is only one available out of that 12. So I would buy that one copy at 12.01 plus 3.99 shipping. That looks great to me. Again, at a much lower offer count, and this book already last year got up in the 70s and 80s. So I would say pretty conservatively targeting like 59.99 is what I would price the book at. I think that'd do great. So we'll add that. All right, we have From Wonder to Wisdom. So not a sort of college textbook, high school book, but all year round book that looks amazing. I mean, this whole last 2 years, it's been selling the 60, 70 range fairly regularly. I mean, recently it just was in the 40s, but it was selling in the mid 50s there in August, September, and it's now 17.99. So this is what I would consider a great all year round book. And good for us, it's 17.99 free shipping. There's actually just one copy, and then it goes up in the 30 and 40 range. So, it's already selling in the 45 range is profitable. So 100% I'm all over this book. Now, not a book that will sell fast. It might take 6 or 9 months to sell, but I would be targeting something like 49.99 personally on this book. I think would be a great pickup price point or selling price point. So that looks great to me. That's gonna go to the $100 price point. We have this McDougall little middle school math book. Now, what I particularly like about this book is that it did sell out. Offer count went to 0. More than likely, what happened is you had a book that's for middle school and probably a business customer. In other words, more than likely a high school came in and just bought a bunch of copies. You can see that happen the previous year as well, where the offer count went from 13 to 6. So I really like that. It's a book that just has low supply in general. So having a single copy of this book, I think, is actually not a bad idea at all. So yeah, I think that book could do well also. This DeWalt book looks amazing. I doubt that we can sell it. From my experience, most DeWalt books are actually restricted, but it looks like I bought it before, so I guess I probably have sold it then, right? unless I got re-restricted. Yeah, I got re-restricted on it. So again, most of the time, DeWalt books I can't sell. We have this Infotech book here. By the way, everyone, we only have about a minute left, but that's okay. Let's see. Infotech. It's been selling in the 30s. It's sitting down here at 6+ shipping. Its whole history, it's been selling in the 30+ range. So this truly is an anomaly for this book to be that cheap. So let's see what the offers look like. It's a very good condition. Not a very high profit book, but I'd say a pretty conservative flip. And what's interesting is that this actually has, somebody has 9 copies available at $9.94. Now, I personally wouldn't be buying 9 copies just because it's not a book that sells a ton, but I'd buy 1 or 2 copies. You'd be a prime seller. Yes, you may not win the buy box because of the buy box thing right now, but there's no FBA sellers. Somebody's going to need this book FBA. And so I would buy just a single copy of this book, $9.94. And I would target close to the new price, honestly, because that's also from a merchant affiliate. Sellers could take 2 weeks to get to you. So I'd still be under 38. I'd probably do like 34.99, but I think that's a solid pickup, and I would definitely do that. $100 profit. 3 seconds left. That is time. So we had this multicultural book as well that looked to be somewhat decent, but we ran out of time. So let's go ahead and see what we ended up picking up here. We ended up picking up quite a bit of stuff. So we're able to pick up a total of how many books is 14 books, 14 copies, and the potential profit on that's $187. So I think we did pretty well there. I was definitely over $100. I got to say potential profit, everyone, because can't guarantee that I cannot guarantee that any single individual one of these books is going to make you profit. But what I can say is after selling personally tens of thousands of books, these are books that I would buy at these price points. We've already seen before that all these books in the previous sessions that are green have already successfully, in my opinion, would have already sold at that price point. Would have already made that profit. And everything that we put in yellow is something that is still cooking, still thinking that it's going to get there soon. And there's a good chance that it will. So sorry for skipping last month. We should have done November. And I guess I skipped November and December. But hey, that's how the holidays go. We will, come back to this sort of live stream session where we do a 30-minute challenge for $100 potential profit, probably sometime in February. And then in February and March, we'll be really looking for high school books. So that's all I got for you out there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Make sure you click the link down below in the description and get that Google Doc, which has all those books. Go buy those books if they're available. And then lastly, sign up for BookMine Mini. It's free. And you can get 50 book leads every 2 hours, absolutely free. Great question, says Margot. What am I looking at? Really simple, Margot, for my settings here. I'm doing on the profit meter, I'm doing great and amazing. So I'm taking out about, over half the books. So I'm looking at basically the profit meter is just like, what's the price of the book now relative to where it was? And so when it's amazing or great, there's a bigger gap there. And the reason why I did that is just because there's so many books to look through, right? So great and amazing. And then the only other thing I did was the price slider. I just said, hey, let's look for anything under 20, 25 bucks. But again, you could very easily say, let's look for more expensive stuff. Like let's look for anything above 25 to 60 bucks. And that would bring back less books, but good books. Like I'm seeing some books that look pretty good right here. So, there's definitely tons of the Three Stooges. That's funny. There's definitely tons of opportunity in the vast, variety of sort of styles of sourcing here. So this looks really good as well. So, wow, that looks crazy. Let's look at this one. So this has been selling in the 120s. It just dropped to $49.99. And it's already gone. So somebody already picked it up. But whoever picked that up, that's a great deal. $49.99. Sell for like 120, 130. Great pickup. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I will see you all next time. Go buy and sell some books. Peace out.